And we are live. Guys, welcome back to F1 Fanatics. I'm Mike, and welcome to the Quali live reaction. And Valtteri Bottas has taken pole position. Incredible scenes for Valtteri Bottas. There, I think everyone thought Lewis had it in the bag, but Valtteri, he found something extra. Hulkenberg in P3, but we'll do our run through in a second. Absolutely crazy. This is the weekend for Hulkenberg. Welcome to the chat, Liam Talks F1. Thanks for coming in. Incredible performance by Nico Hulkenberg, that's for sure. Some shock exits in Q2 and more predictable Q3, but we'll go through where everyone finished and then talk about what happened in qualifying. A great qualifying, I thought, for this weekend, and proves why there's still value in having qualifying elimination as things stand. So I really did enjoy that one today. We're just going to tweet out the fact that we are live, and then we will get into it, guys. But yeah, what did we think of the qualifying performance? That was a very impressive performance from both Bottas and Hulkenberg. Definitely the standout performances for me. Right, tweet has gone live. So guys, we will now go through the running order. So down in 20th, starting dead last, is Kimi Raikkonen. It's so sad to see him there. And I think his interview with Will Buxton was literally like, 1, 2 places, doesn't matter. We're just too fucking slow. So, Kimi, 20th. It's not a great position. Not much better was Antonio Giovinazzi, 19th. Really dog of a car. Welcome, vehicle. Valhalla to the chat. Was a fantastic qualifying session. Lance Stroll, wow, jumped out of it. There was all on the track in Sector 3. Oh dear, is that what you're saying for being beaten by Nico Hulkenberg? Interesting on that front. But yeah, Nicholas Latifi in P18, Magnussen P17, and Daniel Kvyat was the last one knocked out in Q1 in P16, having his lap time deleted going there. George Russell starts in P15, Grosjean making it into Q2, a very impressive performance from there. Hi, David Xavier, welcome to the chat. Hi, Abe as well. But yeah, absolutely kind of really good performance from Roman Grosjean and what has been a tough season for him. That has definitely been his best qualifying performance of the year so far. Going on that front. Carlos Sainz, first kind of shock guy outside of that. He only qualifies in P13th. Not good for there, but the McLarens didn't look quick, actually, all weekend. They seem to have dropped off. Their one lap pace has really kind of benefited. Well, their one lap pace has been really good throughout the season so far, but it seems like they had conceded or lost that advantage or just didn't have it today. Everyone can have a bad qualifying session, and McLaren certainly had that today. Sebastian Vettel, P12, and something really just doesn't look right with Seb, whether it's the car in there. Leclerc, well, I suppose, only could qualify P8, but yeah, real struggles from there. Hi, JB. Welcome. What a quali indeed. Absolutely crazy in there from. Esteban Ocon qualified P11th, although expecting probably to get a 3-place grid penalty for blocking George Russell during Q1. Wasn't aware that he was there, but he was slow on the racing line. Yeah, difficult on that front. Lando Norris, P10. So yeah, P13 and P10 for the McLarens. Not great for them, especially as I don't think their race pace is particularly good, but what they are notoriously good at is both are good at starting the race. So expect McLarens to make up places early in the race tomorrow. Alexander Albon getting through to Q3, so fantastic for him. Really good. Still half a second off Verstappen, but much better from Alexander Albon this weekend. So credit has to be given to him there. It was definitely a performance that he needed. Charles Leclerc goes into P8. Hi, Rox. Welcome to the chat. Pierre Gasly, another impressive performance. I suppose I've just bigged up Albon, but Gasly again, man, he's doing absolutely bits in that AlphaTauri. His qualifying's been incredible all year, Pierre Gasly. I think that one's slightly gone under the radar by being in P7 there. P6, Lance Stroll. Yeah, not a good showing for Lancey boy today. Nico Hulkenberg has got P3 and Lance Stroll's got P. Yeah, not great on that front. Daniel Ricciardo, P4, fantastic from the Renault driver. Looks really quick. After the first set of rounds, was actually third quickest out there. Did his on the medium compound. Max Verstappen qualifies P4, but what is really important for Max Verstappen, and when we get round to kind of talking for the race, he got through Q2 on the hard compound. So he starts on the better race compound. So he will... We don't know what the tyre compounds are going to be like tomorrow, but realistically, he's going to be on the hard compound, which should be the longest stint, and he'll be on the softer compound come later in the race. Is it enough to kind of find some sort of advantage over Mercedes? Who knows? But Red Bull had to try something different, and Max again makes it work. Hulkenberg, probably the standout performer from qualifying today. P3, absolutely incredible from him, getting a 1:26. I mean, it's still, pretty much a second off the Mercedes, but incredible from Nico Hulkenberg. From there, Lewis Hamilton, P2. Now, that is a big surprise. Bottas, he has days where he can match him in the 2019 season. Obviously, he did get pole at Silverstone. He's managed to find a way to beat Lewis Hamilton to pole. Ecstatic on the radio afterwards. Absolutely pumped. Obviously, unlucky with the tyre puncture last week. Hamilton's coming later that allowed them to finish the race, and Bottas meant that he finished outside of the points, massively damaging his championship chances. Does this kind of bring Bottas still in the championship still for me? No, but it's good for Bottas that he's still pushing Hamilton in qualifying terms in that one. But I'm going to jump into the chat quickly before we talk from there. I'm glad Norris got into Q3 as he's, I think a lot of us fantasy players were very happy. Turboed Norris this week, trying to capitalise on that quali streak, and it looked very touch and go, but just about managed to scrape through there. Am I the only one who thinks that penalties already applied should take effect in qualifying? Yes and no, kind of. I guess it's maybe a small window to go on, and we all know how stewards like to take their time in making these decisions from there. Driver of the day, Albon, he gets into Q3. Not quite driver of the day, Abe, but it was certainly a better performance from Alexander Albon. Did you see... Hi, Fergus. Welcome to Jack. Did you see what I sent you? I predicted Bottas on pole. No, I didn't see that, Fergus, but I will take your word for it. Well done for predicting that. Fantastic stuff on there. I got rid of Verstappen for Hamilton and mega drived him, and then I was unsure whether I should get rid of Stroll or Hulk. This morning I gained some more budget, so I could get rid of Stroll and bring in Magnussen. Yeah, I still think Magnussen's in a really good position for the race because, in fantasy terms, because Haas have a much better race car than they do, and Magnussen's been much better in the races from there. Lance, very disappointed. Shut up, Josh. You know you're not disappointed. You're happy that he's proving you right on terms of that front. I'm using my wild card this week. I sent you photographic evidence. Okay, Fergus. I will understand. I'll sit back. I'll claim from there. But yeah, what a qualifying performance was that. And that's what we love. I mean, the midfield, bear in mind that obviously we knew it was just a two-car shootout with the Mercedes, and the unpredictable one in Valtteri Bottas got it over Lewis Hamilton, who is just so dominant at Silverstone usually. But below that, what an incredible qualifying we had. Hulkenberg P3, Verstappen P4, Ricciardo P5, Stroll P6, Gasly P7, Leclerc P8, Albon P9, Norris P10. Just such a mix-up. Vettel out in Q2. It is not going, and just such a deflating message on the radio again of going, I tried. And the guy just has no confidence. And I remember Mark Webber saying on the Channel 4 commentary last week that Silverstone is such a track that you have to have full confidence in your car and how things are going. Otherwise, it exposes you. And yeah, I mean, I think everyone knew that Sebastian Vettel wasn't very confident in the car so far. And yeah, definitely not great for him. Carlos Sainz as well. Where's McLaren's one-lap pace gone? I think it was probably just with the different tyre compounds, poor quality. It just didn't work out for them today. But yeah, not great today. Josh going for Hulking for a podium tomorrow. We'll be keen to see how he'll throw this one away. You cruel man. Josh, the 1 week I didn't want Bottas to beat Lewis. Dang it, Lewis is my mega driver. I think we've all gone that. But yeah, I know, because obviously pole position, you get 5 points. Do you get it in fantasy? Definitely on that front on there. Why did some drivers use medium compounds in Q3? Well, it's because obviously the medium compound was the soft compound last week, and the soft compound this week, because tyre degradation is so much towards the end of the lap of Silverstone, that some teams felt like they were getting better performance out the medium compound than they were softs. But in fairness, in Q3, only really Daniel Ricciardo and the Mercedes set quicker times on the mediums, and Ricciardo still might have set a quicker time on the soft compound, but he did 2 sets of runs on the medium. But Ricciardo in a very good position, I think, for the race, actually, because very good on tyre wear last week, brilliant qualifying position again. But yeah, I think the best driver suited for the race is Verstappen. But again, can we this week have a fight between Bottas has the advantage, he's in the lead. Can we have a fight between Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas for the race lead? That would be absolutely fantastic to see, and would certainly help, because that would be the ice on the cake, having a fight for the race lead. Because yeah, that's all we're kind of really missing at the moment, because the midfield action, how incredible is the midfield going to be tomorrow? I'm just trying to get my hands on it. Hulk, P3, going for his first podium of his career. Verstappen on the hard compound, looking to kind of get the strategically cool advantage. It looked like it might have done well in Austria, but obviously his engine packed out to see whether, that was the last time Red Bull had a strategy advantage at the start over Mercedes. It'll be interesting to kind of see on that front what will happen in the race. Hopefully, Verstappen's engine doesn't kind of go from there. But yeah, Ricciardo, Leclerc, that fight's going to be fascinating between those two, and that one's, will McLaren's have better race pace, or will they struggle to get points this week? Gasly, how will Pierre Gasly do? I mean, Gasly is absolutely flying. Will he finish ahead? Will Albon, he's generally been better in the races than he has been in qualifying. Will Albon be able to get up closer to Verstappen and really put that Red Bull where it should be? It was definitely a better qualifying performance. Go from there. Question for Mike. Are you happy you didn't listen to my Mega Driver advice? What, by not going for Lewis Hamilton? Fantasy-wise, I still think Lewis Hamilton, if he wins this Grand Prix, it's still the best weekend to Mega Drive him. Definitely, I think, on that front, with all the streak bonuses you will get. Can't believe I put in all that effort to increase my budget to bring in Mag instead of Grosjean out qualified. Hopefully K-Mag beats in the race. I think Magnussen has been better in the race. I would expect Magnussen to beat Grosjean in the race from there. Go from there. Mo27 used Mega Driver Hamilton because he's receiving 15 points extra. Nice move. I think it was, in terms of that's where a lot of people gambling. It's a gamble. Waiting for it's a gamble every time it goes from there. Nico is pondering F1. I just got an advert for a funeral company. I think it might be trying to tell me something. Oh, all right, mate. Welcome to the chat. Anyway, I bet you're absolutely buzzing that Nico Hulkenberg is in P3 for tomorrow. Absolutely incredible. Hamilton is going to push strong. Absolutely infinite TK. Definitely go from there. Bold prediction. Kvyat beats Gasly. I mean, David Xavier, that is massively bold prediction. I mean, Gasly would have to drop off massively. He's been brilliant so far. Tonka Toy Truck. Nice to see you from there. Got destroyed last weekend with all the havoc. Absolutely. It was mental in terms of that thing. Good to see you in chat there from there. We'll be finding Emilian Earhart's skeleton before. Oh, Josh. Oh, dear. Honestly, what are you like in terms of that? James Lane, McLaren was sad today. Yeah, McLaren's pace really wasn't there, but wow, how close was it? It really was just an absolute mix-up of cars. George Russell, again, being fantastic getting into Q2. I really think Grosjean has to have a lot of credit for that fantastic performance from the French driver, actually getting it into Q2. Really good lap from him. Grosjean's pace has always been his strength. So doing that is definitely a positive on that front. Hello from Texas. Definitely for Tonka Toy Truck. Welcome again. You looking to need view at Nico just got. Oh dear, honestly. Crazy on that one. Please retire Lewis. Fergus, I don't need that kind of vibe in my life for my fantasy team right now. Stop trying to cruelly take that away from me. But I guess, guys, in the chat, what's our thoughts ahead of the race tomorrow? Do you think we're going to get a race battle? Or do you think Lewis Hamilton is going to get Bottas early on and then just steam off into the distance like he did? What's the tyres going to look like? Obviously, don't expect to see anyone on the soft compound. Do you think Red Bull's tyre strategy of going on the hard compound is going to pay off? Max is going to have a pretty boring first half of the race, I think, in terms of trying to get ahead of Hülkenberg from the start and then just trying to put in deltas that put him ahead of Mercedes, giving him a chance in that second half on the softer compound. But it's going to be so difficult not to see those Mercedes just steam off into the distance. Going on that, you should listen to me by Mega Drive, someone who is due streaks. As Josh said, there is as much chance of finding no. Liam, Josh, behave. Raikkonen is probably wondering what the point is anymore. Those alphas look to be less fun than, those alphas look horrendous. Honestly, I feel so sorry. I feel sorry for Gio as well, because he was genuinely improving at the back end of last year. And he hasn't really got a fair shot to prove that he's worthy in F1 in this Alfa Romeo car, because it's so bad. It is so bad on that. So is it hard, medium, hard for Max tyres? David, I have no idea what the tyre strategy is going to be. I don't know how long they're going to go. Obviously, the hards were the mediums last week. And how long did they go? When did they all pit under safety car? Last week? Was it around about lap 13? It's going to be interesting. I imagine probably 2 stints on hards. Would definitely go from that. Lap 12. Thanks, Rox, for clearing that one up. Yeah, I really don't know how long they're going to last, actually. Softer compound. Was that? No. It was just very interesting. I'm not entirely too sure what the strategy is going to be tomorrow. That's going to go from there. What kind of track temps are expected? I think similar sort of track temperatures today. Friday was definitely meant to be the hottest day of the weekend, but I still think it's meant to be a scorcher tomorrow. So it will be hotter than last weekend. So tyre degradation definitely will come into play massively on that front. Fergus trolling in the comments again in terms of the Lewis Hamilton. But I genuinely am very optimistic about an exciting race. As long as we don't get like a safety car that neutralises strategy. If we get a safety car that kind of brings strategy into play, that would be a bonus. But as long as we don't get like something that happened last week, that would go from there. Albon is about to go below 20 mil turbo driver. No. Albon's performances need to massively improve if he's going to be a turbo driver worthy for that kind of price tag, that's for sure. Considering how hot it is where I am, I'm expecting even hotter in the UK. It is going to be go from there. See you later, Liam. Thanks. Thanks for coming back later on from there. Fergus up with cricket updates. Not good in terms of England collapsing there from there. Could be another chaotic race if the tyres are off. Absolutely. I do think the tyre and managing the tyres and who manages their tyres best is going to be key tomorrow. But I honestly think Max is going to find some way to be challenging or at least being on a level with Mercedes. He may not get close, but he'll be matching. I can't see Max Verstappen not finishing third without any issues in the race. But from fourth downwards, I think it's going to be a brilliant race. Absolutely. From there, I'm predicting a boring race tomorrow. Teams have all probably learned from last week. Albon's made on podium. We'll have to wait another week or month or year or decade or century. Good one from you there, Josh. Coming in and trolling the comments as always. JB, Hamilton moves a meter. Bono, my tyres are dead. That's going to be the jokes tomorrow. If at any point we get the Bono, my tyres are dead, it's going to be just like, are they though? Look at last week. That's when your tyres are actually dead, Lewis. But yeah, crazy. What are people's Do people predict a crazy podium? Can anyone see anything other than a predictable podium tomorrow? I think I still predict probably Lewis to win, Bottas second and Verstappen third. I think it's the safe. I can't see anything out of that, because anything outside of that is just completely unpredictable. Maybe unpredictable Verstappen win, Ricciardo 2, Hulk P3 with a kind of Germany 2019 race for Mercedes. I don't know from there. Go from there. Ewok from Ender. Do you see Bottas with a good start? Got a better start last week, didn't he? But he bottled it going into turn 1. So if he gets a better start here, and he's got the better racing line going into turn 1, yeah, Bottas can potentially, let's go from there. Oh, Rock's going bold with a max DNF, Ricciardo podium, Hulk P4 and Norris P5. Great race from Norris, actually, if he gets to P5 from there. Fergus coming in with a Grosjean podium. That's the kind of bold predictions people love to see in terms of that front. But yeah, Rock saying that Albon's podium will come back in an AlphaTauri, just like Kvyat and Gasly, although Kvyat technically did get a podium with Red Bull when he was still driving for them. When Hamilton won with a puncture, it reminds me of the film Cars. Absolutely, everyone kind of saw that kind of correlation from there. Cars, great movie, by the way, unbelievable in terms of that. Abe, Seb podium. As an optimistic Ferrari fan, I do respect your hope for Seb, but not a Scooby. Seb for me is going to struggle to finish in the points tomorrow. It could be outside points. Leclerc, expect to be better in the race. The Ferraris looked better in race than it has in qualifying. So that'll be interesting, although obviously Leclerc had a mega qualifying lap last week. I do honestly, Ricciardo, I think, is going to have a really good race. He may even be challenging as high up as Max. He feels very confident about Renault's pace. And I tweeted it out yesterday with it. I genuinely think Renault, at least the Ricciardo Renault, is probably the third quickest car out there. Because I think realistically, he did DNF race 1. Styria, he was ahead of Lance before Lance had quite an aggressive overtake move that forced Ricciardo off the track. P3 Hungary, what did he do in Hungary? He finished ahead, didn't he? And obviously P4 last week in Silverstone first one. I do think over there. David Xavier coming in with another bold prediction. Albon to beat Verstappen. Crazy in terms of that. It would have to be a mammoth race from there. What's happened with Mac and how have Renault become so good? I think Renault have always been good. I think people have failed to kind of really look at the results and the race pace. In terms of McLaren, Norris's first 2 results were massively inflated by taking advantage of last lap incidents. And Norris had a fantastic race 1. Austria was definitely there. But from then on in, Hungary and Silverstone, their race pace hasn't necessarily been too good. And Ricciardo looks strong. He looks strong. And I think it definitely does look third quickest out there. And Ferrari, it's just what Charles Leclerc can do in a car, because there's no from there. Don't understand why people are clamouring for Hulk's full-time return to F1. I mean, he's had his chances in the past despite the good qualifying result. I think, Josh, it falls down to the fact that Nico Hülkenberg is a very popular character. And I think people, when they really like someone, they want to see him do well, and they maybe get blinded to some other things. If you're looking at stuff where you want younger talent to come in and Nico Hülkenberg preventing a young driver from getting a seat, then potentially, that becomes an argument, because he's had 10 years in Formula One, and, it isn't this big crime against Hülkenberg. He didn't himself take the opportunities that were presented to him, but he's taken an opportunity this weekend. Fantastic qualifying. What can he do in the race tomorrow? Go from there. Renault is very good at power friendly circuits. They're they're going to be really good at Spa in Italy also. Yeah, I think so. And yeah, it's going to be interesting with the power circuits later on in the season. Bahrain as well. If it still has that advantage from there, it's going to be really interesting from that front. Ferrari has painted Haas in. Oh, Rabbe, that is the comment of the stream so far. Ferrari have painted a Haas in red and given it to Seb. Unbelievable. Renault have always been solid. They just made unrealistic goals, which made them look disappointing. Probably in terms of that, but I still think, yeah, they're probably further ahead in the advantage. They didn't have a great year last year on performance on track, but they had a better one from here. Has Vettel just given up, or is it the car? Maybe a mixture of both. I think Vettel isn't happy with Ferrari anymore. Ferrari aren't happy with him. I don't think they're sabotaging. But if there is one team in Formula One who would sabotage a driver, it would be Ferrari, because it doesn't really affect their Formula One experience. They've got the golden boy in Charles Leclerc. Sebastian Vettel publicly humiliated them by coming out in a lie. Alain Prost, a 3-time world champion at the time, they sacked from Ferrari basically from saying that their car was rubbish. And although it was Prost retiring, it was basically, I think he was pushed. He jumped before he was pushed, sort of situation there. So it's funny how Vettel was on par with Leclerc and now it's kind of dropped off in terms of that. Give us 2 seconds, just got to let Tara out, otherwise she'll be screaming in terms of that. But it can't all be the car. Seb in himself just isn't performing, but I think he's just mentally gone, and I think that I think that also plays a part in it as well. I think it's a combination of the two. It isn't solely Ferrari's fault, and it isn't solely Sebastian Vettel's fault either. I think it's somewhere in between. The sofa is better than the chair. Sorry, Nico. I guess you'll have to create another account for Mike's chair in terms of there. I changed ISPs and have been out of the loop. What happened to Nico last week? Nico did okay for coming back into it, considering the rush he was in last week. And then his engine had a problem and failed to start last week. That's why he didn't start the race. Liam very angry with the situation with Seb. I think a lot of fans are, but he has to look after that. Are you watching Formula E at 6 p.m? No. Have to admit, Formula E doesn't go. I'm going to watch the F2 race. That's certainly go from there. I think F2 is at 4, so I'll probably be ending the stream before the F2 starts. But yeah, for FE, got to say I didn't really miss it in the time that it was gone, and I don't really have any interest. If I'm going to watch a same spec series, I'm going to watch IndyCar in my spare time, because that's a much it's light years ahead of Formula E, in my opinion, just because Formula E don't tend to race on pretty good circuits. The cars are a little bit too big and they're a bit gimmicky with attack modes and fan boost and stuff, where IndyCar is still proper racing, pit stop strategy, kind of skill in the pit crews with only one man per tyre. IndyCar just on so many levels for me is better than Formula E, I think. But Formula E is a young series. It isn't Formula E is going to be bad forever. I think it's going to keep improving, but I don't believe in the hype that there is Formula E at the moment. I don't think it's something to go from there. Matthew Rivera, welcome to the chat in terms of there. Thanks for coming. I live in New York City. Obviously, that's the positive. It allows people in cities to kind of see racing more accessible, but I don't watch any other race. Yeah. Fan boost is the stupidest thing in motorsport, second only to Roman Grosjean. Oh, man, you are wanting Roman out there. In fairness, give Roman credit today. Hey, good performance from Roman Grosjean. Credit where credit's due. Like Alexander Albon, credit where credit's due. It was good for him to get into Q3 in terms of that one. F2 is good, certainly is. Give me 2 secs because I just want to put it, the TV was off, so I just want to put it on so I know when it's about to start in terms of that. Back in a sec. Walking out of streams again, it's becoming regular. Right, I'm back in terms of there. Yeah, Roman did great today. That's certainly from there. I don't know what happened to K-Mag, but he was a lot faster. I think Grosjean's always been the better qualifier out of Kevin Magnussen. I think there are 2 types of drivers, and there are the drivers who are better on a Saturday, and there are drivers who are better on a Sunday. And Grosjean is definitely a very good Saturday driver. I think he qualifies very well. He's good on the 1-lap pace when he's happy with the car coming together. With Kevin Magnussen, I think he sets up his car more for race day, has fantastic starts, and then obviously has good performances from there on that front. It just, yeah, it's... I think Max Verstappen is one of those Sunday drivers as well. I don't actually think Max Verstappen... He has some great qualifying performances, but I don't think he's that great a qualifier. I think he'll be quick in qualifying, but his sole focus is always what's the best place I can get and go from there. Oh, hi, F1 Debate Show. Welcome, go from there. Make sure, actually, you check out the Agree or Disagree series on the F1 Debate Show this week, because I will be appearing on that. It's a fantastic series by Jordan Lyle from the F1 Debate Show, guys. Where obviously you guys put in opinions. So if you have any questions actually for the Agree or Disagree, make sure you drop the F1 Debate Show a message or a tweet, and it might kind of get answered in the show from there. I think that should come out on Tuesday. So definitely look out for that one. And also look out for our live stream tomorrow, where we're going to have a guest with us on the live stream here in person. And we are also going to have a guest on driver ratings this week, so maybe the same guest as the live stream. I'll leave that hint in there for there. But yeah, certainly look out, plenty to look out for in terms of the race and people on our channel, and go from there. Yep, Tuesday 6 p.m. Freddie Davison, hey, what's your reaction to Hulk's finish? Hulk's finish, well, hi Freddie, thanks for coming into the chat. And Hulk's finish was pretty damn impressive. And it really doesn't look good on Lance Stroll. I don't think we've spoken about that actually really in this stream so far. Hulkenberg, very impressive, putting that car in P3. We know that Racing Point is good in a difficult weekend for the team with all the protests and everything going on. The car being legal, but breaking rules, but not breaking rules. Technical regulations are fine. Sporting regulations aren't. Sanctions, weird. No idea what's going on that front. But yeah, Hulk, really top performance, but Lance Stroll, really disappointing for that. I disagree. I think Magnussen is a better qualifier, only just. I think they have very similar race pace, but Magnussen's combat is much more superior. Interesting. Okay, as there. I know consistently, probably, Magnussen probably can qualify better in more conditions. Grosjean, though, if he finds a setup that really suits him, he's pretty much untouchable. He's very quick in that Haas, as you saw from last year in some performances where he got it into Q3. Really impressive there. Seb, Hulk, Racing Point 2020, no chance. Racing Point won't sign Hulkenberg for the 2020 season. If Hulkenberg comes back, I see the most likely positions being Haas or Alfa Romeo, and go from there. Talk something about Seb and Ferrari situation at the show. Because Da Costa cut the entrance to attack mode and should have not got it. That was everything. Remember Motorsport Manager on Wednesday? Absolutely. If you're keen for the live streams, we started it. It was a fantastic, actually, first live stream on YouTube with Motorsport Manager on Wednesday. That will be every Wednesday at 8:30. So make sure you tune in for those. They're kind of good fun. If you want theirs. We do enjoy obviously these live streams on the channel. Fantastic kind of chatting to you guys. Now, Hulkenberg has always been good at Silverstone. I'd say either here or Interlagos is his best track. I think Interlagos is his best track, but yeah, Silverstone was certainly probably, if he could have one race that he was allowed to kind of come back for, in this 2020 season. I think, Silverstone definitely would have been one of the ones high up on his list to choose from. What do you make of Ocon and Russell on Wellington Straight incident? Definite penalty for me for Ocon. I feel Ocon, I think Renault themselves seem resigned to he was on the racing line. He was on a slow lap in the way of Lando. No, it wasn't. It was George Russell, obviously, just said it there. It just pretty much seems a slam dunk, which is a shame for Ocon because that Renault clearly has so much pace. And I suppose, what can we say? He wasn't able to get the car into Q3 when Ricciardo is Ocon. And Ocon, I would say, his qualifying has always been his strength. Is Ocon doing enough at the moment? I know it's difficult because Ricciardo at the moment this season is performing top level. Ricciardo is definitely one of the best performing drivers of the 2020 season so far in my books. Going from there. But Ocon, it's not off the pace. And I'll tell you what, it ain't going to get easier because if Ricciardo's performing like this in the Renault car, you can bet for two things. He might have a couple of races where Fernando Alonso needs to get up to speed. But Fernando is going to certainly make his life very unpleasant if Ocon doesn't find some sort of form through this season. And FT starting to expect nothing less than the Galal to lap the fields. Is that in promotion of your new video coming out soon on Sean Galal, Josh? Is that what we're going for on that front? Go from there. Seb to Aston Martin. I think Seb to Aston Martin. I don't know why people keep asking the question. It pretty much seems confirmed. Ted Kravitz seemed to think that the deal's done, but they didn't announce it because Perez has COVID. Interesting, actually, this week, I saw an interview with Lance Stroll with Dutch media, and actually over the course of the season, Lance has looked very confident about keeping that second Racing Point seat. And, he was speaking about, it doesn't really matter who's my teammate, alongside me. But in this Dutch thing, I think it was with Ziggo Sport, I think he just basically was like, you know what, crap happens. If I lose my seat, I lose my seat. That's Formula One. He didn't sound as confident as he was. I think everyone still expects it Vettel and Stroll next year, but they might go Vettel Perez, and that would be very interesting. Definitely would go on that front. Ocon being the biggest disappointment this season, in my opinion, JB. He's certainly probably one up there. Maybe Alfa Romeo as a team have been the biggest disappointment. Roman Grosjean's disappointed me, how he's just dropped off. That's going there. But Ocon's definitely a strong candidate for that one. Just seen the Ocon incident, pretty absent-minded for him. He's been pretty underwhelming this season. Is it a promotion for the video? Maybe. For Josh, and definitely the Sean Galal one. And that is definitely the next. Is it? It's not a WCF video, Josh, is it? It's it's just a video on Sean Galal. In fairness, and I don't like him, he's never warned that Russell was coming. He wasn't warned, but in fairness, as a driver, you do need some kind of self-awareness. But it's still a slam dunk penalty for me. It's, whether it's Ocon not being aware or the team letting him down, he still impeded George Russell's lap. And he was lucky he still managed to get into Q2, getting a lap on that softer compound. So, in hindsight, it wouldn't have affected things too much, but it might have been the big difference going there. I think Sainz was overhyped last year. Abe, big question. I know Nick Cranky Yankee F1 is a big advocate of this. He doesn't believe the hype behind Carlos Sainz, doesn't think he's that incredible, thinks he's a good driver, but nothing more. And you know what? I would say Carlos Sainz would maybe come into the underwhelming category this year for Formula One. I'm not entirely sure. He had a very good qualifying, actually, in the Styria GP in the wet, getting P3 in the wet. But Carlos Sainz, it hasn't quite pieced together. But again, McLaren's pace dropped off. Maybe not entirely Carlos's fault. And obviously, McLaren's efforts are going to be behind Lando Norris this year because Carlos Sainz is leaving the project. Obviously, they're going to use Carlos Sainz for the data and helping in that front, but the main focus is going to be on Lando Norris. Let's make no kind of bets around that, because it goes without saying, if you've got a guy who's got a long-term future of the team, you're going to invest all your efforts behind there. To be honest, I could see Alpha struggling. Yeah, probably fair. Are you going to watch the new documentary? Can't remember what it's called. Yes, it's Race to Perfection, isn't it? That comes out in September. That documentary looks very good, actually. It'd be very interesting seeing a whole Sky documentary on that. That should be a brilliant one for all race ones. Craig Taggart, welcome. Sorry you're late on holiday, so I was doing stuff. No problem at all. Thank you for joining in. Hope you're having a good holiday, Craig. Should F1 aim for more teams' cars on the grid? Interesting one. They should aim for more teams on the grid if they're going to be competitive. But if we have more cars going into the Haas, Alfa Romeo, Williams bracket where they're not really competing for points, then no, they don't really add anything for me. I guess people want for junior drivers to be given seats. Probably you need one more team for somewhere like Renault to put their juniors as an easy option, because at the moment it's very difficult for a Renault junior to come into F1 unless they're a standout talent, because, you know, Renault expect high standards from one, and neither Zhao, Lundgaard closer, but Zhao definitely for me isn't good enough to jump straight into that Renault seat, especially where that Renault car is as things stand. So Sainz thrashed Norris at the end of 2019 in both quali and the race, but at the start of 2019, Norris had the quali edge. So maybe Sainz just takes a while to adapt. Potentially. Good point, JB. I think that maybe it's a bit slow. It's been a difficult season, and maybe it's a chance to go from there. Oh, just looking, the F2 is lining up on the grid if anyone's interested in going on there. Liam, you made a video on it. Awesome. So obviously Liam Talks F1 has a YouTube channel. Go and check out that video. I'm sure he'll appreciate the support. Valtteri 3.0, Valtteri, whatever Valtteri position that is. And it looks like Samaya is just coming around to complete the grid. And considering the issues we see with the amount of cars at places like Monza, Monaco and Silverstone, is more cars really a good thing? Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I just want competitive cars. I don't look at F1 and think lack of cars is the issue at the moment. I think the issue is having such disparity between the front cars, which is Mercedes, and the rest of the field. And it's just, I think the budget cap probably, you know, will make a massive difference on that, because it proves that the other teams have all a pretty similar budget, I think, outside of Ferrari, who seem to spunk money away and have no idea of how to spend money, it would appear. But with Mercedes, you know, their budget is so far ahead of everything else, and then Red Bull are there. With the budget cap coming down, I actually think that's the main thing. And if it's strictly enforced, I can definitely see the budget cap having a very, very positive influence on the sport. And so the cars maybe isn't the thing from there. Has there been any protest on Racing Point for Hulk P3? Not as it currently stands. Oh, yellow in sectors 1 and 3. Must have been a collision at the start on that front. Interesting on that. Oh, going through at the start of Maggots and Beckett's, is it? Callum Eilert leads, Tigton second, Lundgaard third, Aitken fourth, Schumacher fifth, Schwartzman up to 9th. Armstrong's really struggled, hasn't he, in there? And Zhao down to 11th. Zhao's had a very poor start in terms of that. Sorry, I'm back with you in the chat in terms of that. We're just going to go from there. I'm so exhausted from running downstairs and getting into the living room to watch F2. Go for Samaya off. Well, that's no real surprise. Shocking that Merck fighting against the Concorde all of a sudden. Well, if you're Mercedes, I don't necessarily blame them, because why would you want everyone to be more competitive? But I suppose it goes to the argument that even Mercedes have to see that they have to have a competitive F1, because in Mercedes, everyone can go, well done, Mercedes, you're the best of all time, fantastic, be the most kind of outright constructors wins in a row this year, help Lewis Hamilton get on 7 world titles, get 100% in the record. We can all applaud, amazing job you've done. But if they keep doing it, it's like laughing at us, whoever's coming last in the school school sports day. You know, it's not a nice feeling in terms of that, but you know, you just can't help how bad they are. Nobody wants to kind of see the kind of disparity in the grid. Does Mercedes have the rear wheel steering? I'm not sure on that one. I don't think they do, because four-wheel drive is technically illegal. Go from there. Forgot to Mega Drive Lewis. Rohan. What a shocker in terms of that front, missing out on the streaks. LR, it would be cool if you live reacted to the quali and race. I know, as some people have said that in terms of watch-alongs. The only reason I don't do the watch-alongs in the race and the qualies is because I just would be afraid of missing things on the race as well as chat, where obviously by doing live reactions after qualifying and the race, I can make sure that I fully watched it and we can have great discussions like we've done there. But if there is a mass kind of, want for us to do live watch-alongs and for qualies and races, it's something that we definitely consider in terms of that front. Lundgaard just with a really poor start that allowed Dan Tickton to go there, and Jack Aitken got the better, but Lundgaard was able to find a way to go from there. I think the Concorde is more about money payouts. Well, yes, but money payouts is still, it benefits the guys at the top. They want to be, I suppose, realistically, they're still financially benefiting the best guys at the top, but by making it smaller gaps in between, it means that the gaps allow. It's what American sports try to do, if I'm right. Obviously, the Americans in the chat will be able to help on that front with obviously draft systems and obviously giving like first dibs on players to people who finished at the bottom of the league to try and make sure it's not there. But then you'll still get a great team like the New England Patriots still doing kind of great things in these sports. To be honest, I'm the same with watch-alongs. I wouldn't watch them during the race quali because I just like to focus on the session. Yeah, that's kind of what I feel. I feel like if you are in watch-alongs, unless it's like an alternative commentary, where you're not expecting any interaction in chat, that's certainly something that kind of comes into play. But yeah, it's difficult, I think, in those sort of situations. Just kidding. As the mechanic with no name in Tuned 50 said, I'm Scottish. Oh, unbelievable. But guys, what's our podium predictions for tomorrow? Like I said, I'm still going to go Lewis, Bottas, Verstappen. I'm going to be boring, but does anyone see any bold predictions? I know Rox had one earlier in the chat, I think, with Max retiring with Lewis, Bottas, Ricardo podium, and go from there. But yeah, would be interested to hear your thoughts. If not, we'll round off our qualifying live stream. It's usually around this kind of 50-minute mark that we leave it, and we kind of allow those people who want to kind of watch the Q3. Top three is Ham, Bottas. Bottas? Is that what we're going for? Second JB there. And Germa, I'm going to go for is Hulkenberg. Bold prediction, Albon in the points. Brutal from Josh there, jumping on there. Realistically, Lewis, Bottas, Max. I think that is the go from there. Hopefully, Lewis, Bottas, Hulkenberg. A lot of people want Hulk for the podium. In a prime position, looks very good today. I think so. But, seeing as it's not broken any technical regulations, any position from Nico Hulkenberg in the race, they're not going to get disqualified. It's just whether that they are allowed to run the race part and continue to get further going. That abbreviation is just hamburger. Okay, go from that. Hulk, Max, Danny, Rick. Solid podium from there, Abe. That would definitely be a lively, spicy race. Bold prediction, Grosjean won't crash. Liam, cruel, absolutely cruel on that front. Poor Roman, but unfortunately he's brought it upon himself from there. Ticktum has dropped off. Lundgaard got massive pace again. Not a fan of Silverstone, but somehow manages to find a way to be quick here. Schumacher 5th. Aitken up in the podium position at the moment. His best kind of performance for race from there. Ewok from Endor, Bottas, Verstappen, Norris, Hamilton. Well, that would be an incredible race, certainly to see on that front. But guys, unless there is any more glaring questions, I will round off this Quali live stream. Thanks again for all of you for interacting in the comments. Again, brilliant debates, brilliant chats. What a qualifying session that was. I think, last week was maybe a fairly dull qualifying session, but that was definitely a really good qualifying session. Really did enjoy that one. It was brilliant. But yes, thank you so much for everyone that's interacted in the comments. If you haven't already, really do appreciate if you leave a thumbs up on the Quali live stream, and also if you're new around here, drop a subscribe. Thank you for everything on that front. Really do appreciate that. Ideally, Tictum trying out some rallycross, drops behind Lundgaard and the future FE driver. Yes, definitely on there. Mercedes W11 has the longest wheelbase of all the cars, yet they are super fast in low-speed corners. Their W11's rear suspension has got to be key. And Mercedes are just very good at designing a car. Take care, LR. Thanks for joining in the chat. Thanks for joining Craig Taggart. Great for coming, guys. Brilliant on that front. But yes, see you all later. Enjoyed the race tomorrow. Can't wait to kind of react to it all with you guys tomorrow for the race live reaction with our special guest, remember. Look out for that one. It will certainly be interesting. But for now, UF1 fans, keep racing.